Hey, welcome to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Leticia Ringe, and this is the space to be for high vibe people looking to create a beautiful life and business. Let's do this. Welcome back to the podcast, my beautiful friends. I'm Leticia Ringe, your coach, and today we are talking about unconditional love. So unconditional love is one of our conscious relationship principles. I would say it is essential for building a conscious relationship, which is one that is built on a solid foundation of love rather than fear and scarcity. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through 5 different points about unconditional love that you may not have thought of before that will support you to deepen into unconditional love as a state and also as a practice. Now, unconditional love can be applied to yourself and it can also be applied to your partner as well as everybody else in your life. So everything that we talk about in today's session will be spoken about in the context of your romantic relationship. However, please know you can also apply this to the other relationships and dynamics within your life. Now, when we talk about unconditional love, many of you might actually have a lot of fear and even feelings of unsafety triggered. And this is because for many of us, we believe that if we love ourselves unconditionally, then we'll just let ourselves go and we won't get anything done and we won't be the best version of ourselves. And we also believe that if we love others unconditionally, including a partner, that they might hurt us in some way, that we need to protect ourselves in some way. The 5 points I'm going to take you through in today's episode are going to help you to feel more safe, to actually use unconditional love as a state and practice that will actually create more safety for you. I think about a world where we have everybody operating from the state of unconditional love, and it makes me so enthusiastic about what could actually be created if we were coming from this beautiful state within our lives. So without further ado, let's dive on in. The first point that I'd love to share with you about unconditional love is that unconditional love is about loving without conditions, and that is a gift for you. When you are in the frequency of love and when you practice love, because I would say it's both a state and a feeling and also an action. And I know that there's a lot of conversation about whether it's a state or whether it's a feeling, etc. I say who cares? And let's just talk about the part of you that feels the love and then also the part of you that acts from a place of love. And that's what we want more of. We want more of the feeling and also more of the action. Now, when you feel unconditional love, and when you act from unconditional love, that is a gift for you because you get to experience the feeling and the action even though you might be giving it to someone else. And I think that that's the way our minds tend to think about the emotions that we choose and the actions we take when it involves other people. We think, oh, I'm giving this to someone else. But what you don't realize is that everything you choose to think and feel and do is actually for you. You're the person that is damaged by those thoughts, by those feelings, and by those actions, and you're the person that is also uplifted by them. I first learned this in a huge way a couple of years ago when I was having a coaching session with a coach who was coaching me about a relationship with one of my family members. And I really wanted to go into this interaction with my family member on guard, right? Coming from a place of fear, I wanted to protect myself in case they did what I expected them to do, and then that would disappoint me and make me really sad. So I wanted to go in very guarded and I wanted to go in a little bit angry in order to protect myself from what they might do and what I expected them to do. In the coaching session, it was revealed to me that the only person who suffers from that is me. I then have to feel angry. I then have to feel disappointed. I then have to be defensive. I don't actually open my heart and open my love. And instead, I experience all of the things that I'm trying to protect myself from feeling. So why would I do that? That is really insane when you think about it in that way. And the person that I'm worried about, they would just be having their experience, right? And I couldn't do anything to control that. They were going to feel good, they were going to feel bad. It was completely up to them. So I went into that interaction deciding to be open, to be loving, to allow myself to be surprised. And guess what? I ended up having the most amazing interaction with that family member that I had had in many, many years. And it was a gift for me. So I would love for you to think about unconditional love, loving without conditions upon it. It doesn't matter what the other person's doing. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. It doesn't matter what you expect to happen in the future. You're not thinking about the different stories that are involved with you giving the love to yourself or to your partner, and instead you're just loving. This is a gift for you because you ultimately are the one experiencing that love. And of course, just like we say, abundance begets abundance, it's the same with everything in life. Whatever you're putting out is what you're also receiving. So you're more likely to receive a loving state and loving actions from others when you are doing the same. And the great thing with unconditional love is it doesn't matter what is happening. Doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter what the other person is doing. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You're just going to love yourself and love them all the way through it, no matter what, which means you don't have to filter it through your brain asking, should I give my love? Should I not give my love? Like, you just remove all of the decision making from it and you just choose to love, because ultimately you're coming from this higher perspective and you know that that love is a gift for you, and you know that that is what is attracting more love to you as well. Number 2, one of my teachers is a man named John Wineland, and he often talks about loving without history. I love this concept so much because so often the way that we decide whether to give love to ourselves or to someone else is based on what we've experienced in the past. And we make the decision from a place of fear. Ooh, should I give my love to myself? When I did that last time, this is what happened. Or should I give my love to my partner when they're doing XYZ? When I have experienced that in the past, it didn't work out well for me. So we're often referring to the past, and that's what makes it so hard to love in the present moment, because we're bringing the past with us. And it also just makes it so tricky to be truly present in the present moment with the person in front of you and with yourself. It means that you might also hide away from actually seeing the truth that's in front of you. Perhaps you're recognizing that within yourself you have a particular quality that you judge. Maybe it's a quality that you notice in one of your parents, and then you realize you also embody that quality, and then you judge it. And because you judge it so harshly, and because of all the history that's associated with it, and maybe a lot of pain, you then will not give yourself love because of that. You might even hide that part of yourself from you, and then it will inevitably be expressed in probably unhealthy ways. So loving without history is actually freedom. Doesn't matter about your past. Doesn't matter at all about the past. All that matters is this moment right here, and there's no decision to make. You just get to love. Like, that's what it's all about. That is true freedom. So I really love this idea about loving without history. How many of you notice that your love is attached to history? At the end of this episode, I'm going to give you all a series of journal prompts so that you can reflect on the concepts I'm speaking about in today's episode, and then you can use the information you gain from your answers to start practicing unconditional love in deeper ways. Number 3, unconditional love is a state and a practice that lives in the present moment. This is really, really important. Unconditional love can only ever live in the present moment. If it's not in the present moment, then you're in the past, loving with history, or you're up in your head thinking about, should I give this person my love, which again is always in reference to the past or the future, and then therefore takes you out of the present moment. We all know that our power lies in the present moment always, and ultimately our future is being created from the present moment. The reason all your power lies in the present moment is because that is the only moment you have control over. That's the only moment that matters. So when you focus on how can I embody unconditional love right now, you want to tap into how it feels in your body. You can ask your inner voice to show you what unconditional love feels like and experience that throughout your body right now. And you can look at, coming from this state of love, what action am I going to take? The action itself does not determine whether something is coming from unconditional love or not. The state is what determines that. And the only way to be in that state is to be in the present moment. So really, conditional love is never in the present moment. It's always tied to the past or the future, or you're up in your fear response in your brain. So if you want to live more from the present moment, unconditional love is going to help you with that. And if you want to practice and feel more unconditional love because you know it gives you freedom and it's a gift for you and also attracts more of that into your life, then you also know that the only way to access that state and to act from that state is in the present moment. So consider it also a meditative practice for you and your partner. Number 4. Unconditional love allows you to be you. I think that this is one of the most important lessons I've learned through my conscious relationship work. It is the understanding that in a conscious relationship, you have a unique, rare, and sacred place to show up and be seen and witnessed as completely you with all the different sides to you. So just like we were talking about in the previous episode 207, which is about expanding your capacity, truth changes. You change. And the only way we're able to access the full picture of who we are, our wholeness as a human, is when we're allowed to be messy, when we're allowed to believe that something's our truth and express it and be witnessed in that, and then discover, oh, actually, that isn't my truth. My deeper truth is this. I like to talk about the conversations that you have with your partner or with yourself, the truth that you enter that conversation with. You think that that's your ultimate truth, but it rarely is the truth that you leave with. So unconditional love allows you to hold that space for yourself and for your partner to be whole, to be you, and to be witnessed in that wholeness and in that you-ness. You are a person with flaws, with strengths, with weaknesses, with power, and all of that is what makes you you. None of that is an identity, and all of it is up for change, and all of it is just as valuable. So our mind likes to say, well, this part's good and this part's bad, but in essence, all of it just is. So when you allow yourself to practice unconditional love, you're allowing yourself to be whole. You're allowing yourself to be witnessed in that wholeness, and that is what makes you and your partner feel seen and heard, which is one of the most common desires I hear from my clients who want conscious relationships. They want to feel more seen and heard. That was what ultimately got me into this work. And ultimately, as humans, that's the thing that we're most desiring, or even the most afraid of, because of the way we'll judge ourselves if we are fully seen and known for all of our strengths and all of our weaknesses. This is why perfectionism can actually be one of the biggest barriers to practicing unconditional love, because we believe, no, if I give myself unconditional love, then I'm going to have to acknowledge the fact that there are qualities that I am possessing right now or acting with right now that I don't like. So unconditional love can also be a very healing practice for both you and your partner, and it for sure provides a sacred space that we don't find in many other relationships in our life, and that is why I believe romantic partnership is so incredibly healing and beautiful, because it is the one place where you get to show up as you and see yourself as you and see yourself more clearly through the eyes of another and be accepted as you. And that is available right now to every single one of us. Point number 5. Now, here's the reason most of us are so scared to practice and give unconditional love. It's because we believe that if we love unconditionally, then we will not be safe. But here's the truth. Loving unconditionally is safety. If we think about love versus fear, safety exists on the side of fear. Safety does not exist on the side of love. It's not even part of the equation, right? Love is abundant. It's free. There's nothing to worry about when we're coming from love. Love actually, in my eyes, is the greatest protection of all. And I'll give you a story on this. So there was a person that I was dating, and I was talking about how I just choose to trust people right away. And they said to me, why would you do that? Like, you could end up with some bad people. They might hurt you. And I said to this person, well, if someone decides to hurt me, that's on them. That's not on me. But I'm not going to hurt myself because I'm afraid of that happening. If someone does hurt me and I know that I've loved them and I've trusted them and I've shown up from that place of abundance, then while it might sting for a little bit, I will know and be protected by that frequency that I've come from. And I truly believe this. When you love yourself and you love another person, if they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes, they can't get very far, right? Because you're just loving them the whole way through it, that they usually just give up. So I believe love is actually your best defense, and that love is what provides safety. Now, on top of this, boundaries can also exist at the same time as unconditional love. And in fact, I believe they should exist because boundaries are ultimately loving. Boundaries are truth. Boundaries are conscious communication. Hey, I'm just letting you know that this is my boundary. And we don't use boundaries as a form of manipulation or as a form of an ultimatum. It's more expressed in this way. I'm just letting you know that this is my boundary. And so if you do X, Y, Z, I'm just letting you know that this is going to be my reaction, my response. And I'm doing this from a place of love, not from a place of trying to control you. Yeah. And no matter what you choose to do, I will still love you because I operate from unconditional love. And so I'm giving that to you as well as to myself. So actually, boundaries coming from this energy are so freeing as well. There is no control or manipulation or fear. It's just about you recognizing your own truth and what's needed in the moment, and then having the honest conversation with the person in front of you to express that. So this is why I believe that unconditional love is actually the biggest source of protection that we have, that there's no reason why we shouldn't love unconditionally, because it's a gift to you. It brings you freedom. It's what puts you into the present moment. It allows you to be you in your entirety and wholeness, which is perfect. And it allows you to be safe because there's no fear, there's nothing to be afraid of, there's no protection needed from the place of love. So, my beautiful friends, Now I want to share with you some questions that you can ask yourself to start exploring where the edges are that you can start softening into to practice and be in the frequency of unconditional love more within your relationship with yourself and also your relationship with your romantic partners. And remember, you can also practice this with any other relationships within your life. The first question is, where am I loving with conditions? This is such a great question to ask yourself, and you will find so many answers, I'm sure, of where you're doing this with both yourself and also your loved ones. It will be such an amazing awareness exercise for you to answer this question. And it's just going to show you where the opportunities are for you to start flipping the script and practicing unconditional love. So I'm really excited for you all to see what you discover here. The second question is, where am I not loving because of history? So notice where you withhold your love because you're referring to past experiences or because of fear of something repeating itself again. And just notice that. Awareness is where change starts. This is what I've learned through all my years of coaching, is it's less about all of the actual integration tools and it's more about simply the awareness we get. That's why coaching is such a powerful modality, because in a conversation, which is essentially what coaching is, your client gets awareness as to what's motivating them, what's really going on behind the scenes, what they truly desire, etc. And with that awareness, change is inevitable. So the support with the actual change or the actions after the session is the least important piece of it. It's really about that moment of realization where you see, whoa, these are the places where I'm loving with conditions and these are the places where I'm not loving because of history. And now that's in the back of your mind, and the next time you notice yourself doing that thing, you will have a choice. That's what conscious relationships all about. It's about the ability to choose rather than it not actually happening anymore. So for instance, it's not about you still having that filter that looks for the conditions. It's not about you not looking at the history. It's about yourself noticing that you're doing that and then making the conscious decision not to. Okay, the third question for you all is, what am I afraid will happen if I love myself unconditionally? I love this question because it will reveal to you the stories that you hold that are preventing you from loving unconditionally. This is amazing because once you have the awareness, you get a choice. Is this story really serving me? How could I flip the script to be something that I actually could believe in, that will actually support me embracing unconditional love? All the ways that we choose to think, our beliefs, the stories we tell ourselves are all optional. That is why when we talk about truth, there can be so many different and competing truths that exist at once, because they are all simply choices about how we perceive the world around us. So the way you want to make your choices is whether it actually serves you. If you're not able to access unconditional love, which is probably coming from a place of fear and protection, then that means you're living in a state where you're afraid and not protected, because that's what you're operating and making the decisions from. So to get what you ultimately want, you'll need to flip the script to come from love, to come from protection. And that will help you then to embrace the practice and state of unconditional love too. So what am I afraid will happen if I love myself unconditionally? And then the fourth and final question I have for you today is, what would loving unconditionally look like and having boundaries? So think about choosing to love yourself and the person in front of you no matter what, and having loving boundaries for yourself that reflect whatever your standards are or your needs are. It doesn't matter what your boundaries are. All that matters is that you express them, right? And you do it in a way that comes from love. I'm just letting you know that this is something I need, and so this is a boundary for me. It's okay if you choose not to meet that boundary. I don't want to cross your boundary, and I will love you no matter what. So there you have it, my beautiful friends. There are 5 points about unconditional love that you may not have thought of before, and 4 questions to support you in practicing unconditional love in a deeper way within your conscious relationships. If you would love more support in this area or generally within your love life, I recommend you check out my conscious relationship coaching program. I work one-to-one with my clients. I absolutely adore this work so incredibly much because it touches upon every aspect of our life and ultimately your own relationship with yourself. And it's my absolute pleasure to provide this support to you all. So if you'd love support, head to leticiaringe.com/coaching. You can submit your application and then I'll come back to you and let you know whether it seems like you're a good fit. And if you are, the first port of call is to have a coaching session with me for free so that you can experience what it's like working together. And then I can let you know from there whether I invite you into the longer program. All right, my beautiful friends, I'll leave it here. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for listening to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Leticia Ringe, and I appreciate you so much. If you would like support one-to-one as you up-level your life, business, or relationships in a conscious, intentional, and love-focused way, then head to leticiaringe.com/coaching. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.